Hello, thanks for having me on this seminar. I am going to speak. My name is Christine Moriarty, first of all, and I have had over 30 years experience working with individual clients. I am now a speaker and writer, and this is a topic that is near and dear to my heart, as I've had many family members go through this and I've helped them along the road, and I've had many clients. So looking at protecting your finances through a financial planning lens is both personal and professional for me. So I have some aspects that will help you out and look at it differently, as well as include what some of the previous speakers have spoken about. So I'm going to share my screen so you can be looking at the same slides I have. A lot of the details that I present will be on the handout that you got from Penn State. And I know we'll have time for questions at the end. So this is going to be through the financial planner's holistic approach and lens on protecting your finances. What we know as experienced people with memory loss and the medical community knows is that executive function is the first to go as we age, or if there's a stroke. And executive function, money management is an executive function. And what happens is so many people are quiet, that's a euphemism, about their own money. Like they don't talk to other people about money. Or in the case of the older generation, a lot of, maybe it was the man in the family that took care of the finances and he doesn't want to share it or give up control. Maybe it was the woman who always paid the bills, or as a single person or as a spouse. And no one wants to give up something they've taken care of all of their life. So we want to be aware that it may go and people may or may not know about it, but we can work with them in several different ways without having pinpointing or taking everything away. So the four areas I want to talk about today are spending, both credit cards, cash, all those ways, credit, using that credit card as well as our credit reports, solicitations, and how to create a team effort to really help our loved ones manage this money so in a way that helps them in the long run. Spending. If you want to help someone with their spending, first you need to understand their system. If they are remiss or don't want to give it up, maybe you just ask them how they manage their money so that you can learn from them a better way. Or maybe if you're the person who has mild cognitive impairment, you start to tell someone how you manage your money so that they see there's a system, or you write down which bills come out of which account and when your payments come in from an IRA or from a pension. Those kind of things are very helpful. If you're helping someone review their debts and payments, the same if you're willing to at least write them down so there's tracking and there is a future ability to understand how the money flows. Because often I see clients get really frustrated if someone has passed away or if they're helping someone who became ill and they don't know anything about what payments come, where money comes in, how money is spent. So if we take the time to look at these two areas, we can then make changes appropriately because we know things change over time and we don't really have a roadmap. So on the spending, it's important to not upset someone's system because we all like to manage money in the same way and have a routine, and even more so during a progressive disease. The other thing is credit. Now, one thing about, everyone always thinks of credit cards or how we spend our money or how that looks. what you need to know is you can put credit limits on credit cards. So if up until this point, someone has had 2 credit cards, maybe you do reduce a credit card so that there's only one, and take the time to reduce the limit to something that's manageable. Credit cards love people who have been very attentive in paying their bills. You want to make sure that you lower, rather than have them raise the credit to $12, $15, $25,000, you can actually lower the credit limit to $250. It's a way to manage some of the risk associated with memory loss. That is a huge piece. Again, not taking away a credit card right away, but adjusting what can be spent. You can do the same on an ATM card that only has a limit of $100 or $50 can be taken out each time, because that's what this disease is about, is loss. And as this loss, it can include money. As our memory fades, we want to make sure that there are some restrictions and limitations. A huge thing is to check someone's credit report. Repeatedly, I hear from clients that, oh, I didn't know my mom had this bill or that bill that could be something that they have been paying on. And on a credit report, it lists everything, the past history. It also would list some funny things, like I know on my mom's credit report was a phone, a landline in Miami, Florida. And my mother had never lived in Miami, Florida. So it was evident to me that there was some identity theft out there, and it was worthy to note on a credit report. Also consider a credit freeze. And I recommend this to almost everybody. A credit freeze in most states is free, and you freeze your credit so that no one can check it unless you release it ahead of time to them. So that means that you get a code, it's frozen. All those places that want to give extend your credit certainly can check and see you have good credit. However, if you go to buy a car and you need credit for the car, you have to then release your credit report in order to buy the car. It's not a huge hassle like some people anticipate. However, it can protect the worst of things. I gave this talk to a professional financial planning group, and someone came up at the end and shared afterwards that he couldn't help his mother when she actually went out and bought a car, a Cadillac, he clearly said, and she didn't even have a license. She had used credit to buy the car, but because she had signed the documents and was not declared incompetent, that credit was extended on the car, and she owned the car that she couldn't drive anymore. So a credit freeze really can serve you in so many ways, and it can certainly prevent identity theft for everybody, which is why it's high on my credit recommendations. So another key area is solicitations. We all know that people, when you're home, love to get US mail. People love to get email. Those kind of things can be blocked. So again, on the handout is all the information, but you can also go online and find the places to discontinue getting solicitations in the US mail. I don't know of one from email at this point, but I know that each email service, whether you have Gmail or Outlook, has ways of blocking things you don't want, or putting them in the trash. And the less information coming into someone who's overwhelmed, the less they're going to make a poor decision. The same with the phone. You can use a national service that's free. Don't ever pay for either the mail or the phone. A national service that will allow blocks on your phone. This happens again. My friend David was home with his family, and his mother kept getting phone calls, and he said she would get about 8 phone calls a day of solicitations. And he started just picking up the phone and saying, "Don't call back." I told him that doesn't solve all of the problems, that to make sure he does this phone um, do not call service, which he did do. And he said the next time he went home, there was only 1 or 2 calls, and he let them know his mother was on do not call. So they had been reduced. There's also pyramid schemes. I have heard of an elderly gentleman through his grandson who ran an empire, for lack of a better word, a large real estate holdings, had done very well financially. And at the last few years of his life, as he aged and became less capable, he got wrapped up in a pyramid scheme. But because of his patriarchal nature, none of his family knew it because he wasn't sharing any information about his financial life. So there's all sorts of other frauds, and we've heard them about people claiming to be family members and seeking money, bad, having to wire money to people and then it's gone. So be sure that solicitations, you protect yourself and loved ones against solicitations. This is a team effort. I don't want you to think you have to do this alone. 1 is financial planners can help. 2 is the bank can help. Well, I have a friend who manages a bank, and she says, we are the first line of defense because we see people all the time or can read the historical habits around checking and savings. And so if something's off, we catch it. So making people around your loved one aware of this financial issue that could come up because of some medical issues, then that helps you breathe a little bit of sign of relief and know there's a team out there. And please don't think you have to do this all at once. I make a lot of recommendations in this short time we have together. And definitely on the handout, there is recommendations. But do take it piecemeal and make sure you chip away at some of these important things. I want to supply some professional services. If you look at this list, there's elder care services, there's geriatric care managers, there's local senior centers. Excuse me. One of the best things I've found for clients is daily money managers who work with people to help them manage their money and balance the checkbook. So you don't have to take it on, and there's someone objective working with a client. And there's elder care attorneys and CPAs, of course. I always love sharing this picture of my dad with one of his visiting nurses. He was in great shape, but as he wound down, he needed more and more help. And gradually, he stepped in the right direction by getting that help, both physical and mental. But sometimes it just takes a lot more encouragement and support even to ask for help. And we can all relate to that, I think. There's educational resources on the left here. I have a list of some of the books that I like and appreciate the best, from the Forgetting to Still Alice, to the classic, The 36-Hour Day, to the new one, The Problem of Alzheimer's by Dr. Kalowish. And then there is a movie, Alive Inside, and that just can be helpful to see that, remind us that someone is inside and how helpful music can be. In summary, I want you to refer to that UPenn Memory Center handout. Build your team around your financial life and around helping your loved one around their financial life. If this is not your strong point, find someone who it is, like a daily care manager or a CPA with a bookkeeper on their staff. Over time, you can make this happen. This isn't something that happens overnight, nor is the disease overnight typically. So you can ease into it and help what you need, get that information on what you need. You can also refer to my website because I have been studying and working with this issue of memory and money for over 15 years. Again, because it's near and dear to my heart and because of clients, and there's resources on there. I thank you for your time this afternoon, and I really look forward to your questions.